Okay,
Hey,
we're here.
okay. Great.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
here with,
Looking forward to this.
yes, we're here with Sue Singer, the
Mhm.
founder of Solora Health and WOVN, our wonderful platform for people who are breast cancer survivors. And I'm here to talk with you today, Sue. What I wanted to do is talk a little bit about the relationship that you have with your two sons
Mhm.
and, you know, poke into a little bit about how you went through the process of, dealing with your illness. Says you had two incidents,
Mhm.
and just wanted to kind of take a look at how the boys see you and how you see yourself through the process as their mother. And
Mhm.
we just felt like that would be a wonderful kind of a little bit of a topic to walk into.
Yeah.
You guys just got back from having a little spring break, right?
Yes, we did. We did. It was a lot of time with family, but we had fun, right? We're on the water. We were doing a college tour. It was, yeah, I think it ate a lot of fried food. So I think, yeah, as of yesterday, I'm trying to feel a little better, but it was nice. It was nice to, spend time with them, not telling them they have to do the laundry.
Right. In executive mode where
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
can like do a puzzle together or something.
Yeah. We went bowling. That was super fun. I didn't expect them to like it, but they really enjoyed it. So anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
bowling is really fun. It's underrated.
Yeah, I suspect if I tried to take them bowling here at home, they would roll their
Mhm.
eyes and complain the whole time, but they loved it. We had a great time. It was
Oh,
fun.
that's great. So your older son is 16 and your younger son is 13, just so we can set the scene.
Dean,
And
yeah.
and I have to give you props. I mean, going on vacation with teenagers can be hard
It's
sometimes because they're always like, oh, I'm bored, or
oh my gosh, I'm here in the middle of the ocean on a boat and I just want to look at my phone.
yeah, the phone fight is real. Oh my gosh, I'm telling
Real.
you.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah. But my friends, they're messaging me. Anyway.
Oh, I know. And but no matter what, I think you always get a chance, during a vacation to kind of
Oh yes.
be like floating in space and kind of
And
suspending all of the administrative stuff. And you can get
yeah.
into some, maybe a couple of good, you know, discussions about, even if it's just the latest rapper or, whatever,
Yeah.
you
I also
know.
found that when we're at home, we tend to go into our own spaces,
Yeah.
unless we're doing something as a family. But when you're on vacation, you don't have as many of that. So there's a lot of sometimes just like sitting and where we're
Mhm.
reading, or we're just looking out at the water, or we're walking somewhere, right? And it just and not in the car going
Yeah, and
places.
you
So
can feel yourselves as a family unit, like a little bit more because you're don't have that layer of obligation and distraction and executing all the time
yeah,
like
what's
one
next thing?
does in
Yeah,
regular.
exactly. Like, what's for dinner? The age old question. Yes.
So it's interesting, I think a really interesting thing that I want to get into a little bit with you is um, how your how having had cancer twice has impacted both how you perceive yourself and how you perceive yourself as an adult woman in the world who is conveying like a set of values and a way of handling hard things to two young, you know, men that she loves. And
Mhm.
also how the boys, the arc of, you know, change in their perception of you, if anything.
Mhm.
Those are that's something that I'm finding to be an extraordinarily interesting and meaningful sort of journey for both you as the mom and the boys as, looking to you and within your family.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we can talk about Pete some other time, but but this mom son thing
Yeah,
is very powerful.
yeah.
It really is, because at some point it's going to be they're forming how they relate to you through you going through, your hardship and your
Mhm.
everything,
Yeah.
how they relate to you and how you allow them to relate, or what you're asking of them as you go through it, is going to, inform their relationships as they go forward too. No pressure.
Exactly. Just forming human minds. It's fine.
um, um, let's just start generally. So you see, when you describe to me who you are as their mom, just Sue in the world in a very unserious kind of a way,
Mhm.
how is it, how do you show up for them? Like, if you could give me 3 words about
Mm.
Sue Singer, the mom, in regular life, like if you were to describe yourself in 3 to 5 words, I'll let you have a
Yeah.
little.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm the organizer. I'm the
Mhm.
person that, makes sure whether we have groceries or we have the lawn service that comes or we have the cars that are done, or for them, like, how are they getting to school? My son is
Mhm.
driving now. That's a little different, but I have been the one that makes sure their life is organized. And now they're older, they have Google calendars of their own that we then use, right? So organizer is one of them. I'm also the mediator in many ways.
Mhm.
I my personality likes everybody to be even keeled and happy with what's happening and things like that. So when there's things in their life that are bothering them or et cetera, I am also trying to like help them and monitor that also between their relationships and things like that.
Mhm.
And I like to think that I'm a humor as well. Like I tell dad jokes and make fun things and try to learn meme stuff to make them roll their eyes, right? To try to teach them that life isn't that serious, right? Like everything doesn't have to be, okay, did you get your homework done? Did you exercise? Did you brush your teeth? Did you do this, right? No, let's actually have fun, things like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those are like the 3 kind of concepts that who I am as a person, but then also as I show up with them as like their mom. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have any idea what a cool kid you are?
I know.
Like, in the world? They
Well,
must.
I think when I dyed my hair pink, I started
Right?
to recognize that, right? As they get older, I think maybe they see some of that. But yeah, I would,
Yeah.
yeah, some of my like hair choices over the years, I think so.
I love that.
Yeah,
No, seriously, your hair is always something
I
to,
know.
like, look
Yeah.
forward to.
I know. Like, yeah, yeah, I like my extensions far too much right now, but I'm really enjoying them. Yes, that I haven't had long hair since I was my early 20s, so it's fun. Yeah.
So the Sue that's the, regular mom in the world and that type of thing. Is there any specific, like, couple of values that you really want to impart to your sons, that like, if you look back at your life when you're, say, 85, and you say, "Oh, I'm so," it's evident to me that the boys both sort of absorbed this very important thing I wanted to give to them or imbue in them. What would that be?
A lot of it has been, as I think about it, the ability to sort of self-reliance, that you have the ability to do something on your own or with, and don't be afraid to do it or learn to do it. So if you're interested in learning something, you go and do it, or you need to do your own laundry, right? Like those are the kinds of things that you look to yourself to do and to handle. At the same time, you don't want to be isolated, and you want to know where you need help, and know where it's okay to look for help somewhere else, right? So my son is looking at colleges right now, and he is really struggling with a college search. And we are trying to help him, but I'm like, there are people out there who are experts, college counselors
Yeah.
at college searching. They help with lots and lots of things. Maybe we should go and look for that support somewhere else. And that's maybe some better examples are like my 13-year-old is autistic, and we didn't get a diagnosis until he was about in 3rd grade to explain some of his behaviors, because we didn't understand what was happening. And we looked to professionals. I was like, there's things we can do as parents, but we have gone beyond our skill sets in terms of like, how do we help our child manage his nervous system and manage what's happening around him? So we looked outside and bring in experts. And so it's this balance of, you can do things on your own, but then there are times in your life that there's someone else who knows how to do it better or can really help you do it. So it's like that sort of balance of things. Like, you don't always need everybody to do things for you, but sometimes you do.
So is that an example that you actually said to your older son, we did this with your younger brother, is, and in some sense, the general concept is saying, hey, you know what, there's experts out there. Maybe we can, get their help.
Yeah.
And
I say it more and more explicitly sometimes. And I joke, as we've, been, fortunate in kind of where we are, like, I can clean my house, but actually the cleaning service, right?
They're pros.
Pros, right? So, I mean, I'm talking everything, right? I'm talking like mental health down to like toilets and things like that. So, and what I also try to impart on them is that, their dad and I have worked hard to a place where we can afford to do that, right? And they're going to have to also clean their own bathrooms for a while, right? Until they get to a place where you can do this, right? So the expert aren't always the ones that you should go for. But yeah, it's a very, and sort of where you use that sort of expertise. And cleaning people's, it's kind of as a joke, but yeah. And sometimes you just yourself got to earn it sometimes.
So let's bring in the character, let's enter the breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That came into your life how many years ago?
2019, so 7.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So 2019, the boys were, let's see, so bad at math.
This before, and my menopausal brain's like, what? I can't retain these numbers. He was Owen, my oldest, was 10, and my youngest was 7.
Yeah.
Or 6. It depends on the time of year, but yeah, 10 is, pretty young.
So those were,
like 4th grade and 2nd grade maybe, or something. Mm-hmm. Or no, that's not right. Anyway, something like that. 4th and 1st.
So you're hit with this tsunami, the wave, and you are tasked, in addition to dealing with all of the everything about it, going back to your sons, reflecting back to your sons and explaining things to them, and putting it in age appropriate terms, and going through all of the emotions of like, what does this mean for me in their lives? That type of thing. There's a lot of like heavy stuff going on. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, what did you feel was the most important thing that you needed to do for them or communicate to them, age appropriately, knowing that they were, 7 years younger than they are now, or 6 years? Or whatever it was.
They, when my husband and I have talked about it, we really wanted their lives not necessarily to be interrupted so much, mm-hmm. so that they were still going to basketball practice or to drum or guitar lessons at the time, right? That it wasn't something that was going to affect them in that way. Mm-hmm. And so we really focused much more on like, we actually didn't use the C word at that time, mm-hmm. mostly because we weren't sure how they would handle it with other people, sharing it with them. And so we really just shared with them that, mom has to have surgery, and then and she has to go back to the hospital for a week and a half daily. I went daily for radiation. And that, that grandma was going to be here, that Mimi, that we had a fantastic in-laws, and they would be here to help them. And so, really a lot of it was just sort of focused on, there are times in life when mom has to take a break, right? And you have to take care of her. And that our responsibility is to make sure, kids' responsibility is to, make sure that, mom's doing okay, but you don't always ask her for everything because she's actually not there for that moment in time. So it was, it wasn't until later that we shared that I had read after the second time, that we actually shared that I had it the first time. They both well, Liam, not so much. My younger son, my older son remembers me having
Yes.
surgery, but didn't necessarily know what it was. So yeah. And to be honest, at the time, I was in
Mhm.
denial. It was
Yeah.
stage 0. I was like, do I call myself a breast cancer survivor? Like, what does this mean? Right. Like, and so for me, in many ways, it was this like, nope, I just had to go have a little surgery, get some radiation. And then,
Yeah.
well, then I was knocked on my butt for a while in terms of like energy. And I took some time off of work, but all my energy went towards the kids. Right. And like getting them places, doing what they need to do. And I would come home, take a nap, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, it was a lot of just sort of protecting them from it, but also for my own
Yeah.
sake. Like I wasn't quite, you know what, you said the word tsunami, like there was a tsunami, but I pretended like it was just a big wave.
Right.
Yeah. But then a few months later, dealing with depression and dealing with other things, right? And because you don't deal with some of those big emotions in there and stuff like that. But different conversation. But with the kids, it was really, yeah, really just helping them, continue through their lives, but knowing that there's times in life you have to take care of someone else. And it's not just about where's my whatever they can't find shoes or something like that. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what was your sense of how much they were noticing? Like, if there was a point where you kind of needed to cry, or, kind of take the facade came down a little bit, or they noticed that you were, feeling depressed, or having a depressive period. To what extent do you feel like that they noticed that? Um, I mean, I think we all are like, oh, I did my best, and not, but I know that's a hard question, and
yeah. It's looking back, I did my best to try to protect them from it, but I think that they would notice that I was tired. I think tired was more than anything else that they would
yeah,
see, right? Like I'm not a tired up until it's hard to know. Like, was it breast cancer or just age? I don't know. Like I wasn't always like a tired person. But that, at that point, mom was tired and needed her time. So that was the way I would
yeah,
describe it. Like, I'm just really tired right now. I'm going to go lay down or something like that. So, with my older son, he is much more in tune with other people's feelings.
yes,
And so I think, he would know, well, he's also older at the same time, would notice. My younger son, it takes a little bit more time to sort of process what other people are feeling and stuff like that. But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're pretty cognizant of everything now that you've been through a second.
Well,
And
yeah,
recurrence.
because this was the second time was a double mastectomy, and then was hit the second with chemo, and we
Oof,
yeah, it
so
was
much respect.
they were older, right? So
Yeah,
as you said, age appropriate, right? Like it's and because we were going to need more support from our family and from the community around us, we were going to tell more people and bring them into the and bring them in. And so we wanted the kids to be a little more prepared and cognizant of it. And also they were, it was 2023. So, Owen was 14, right? And then Liam was 10 or 11.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So a little older and able to process a little bit more. Yeah.
If there was, one or two like descriptors, like that you wanted them to know about you, like the second time around, what would that be? Like your mom is
Fighting breast cancer, right? Your mom is
yeah,
having a very serious health challenge, and she's doing everything that she's been told to do, or that science says is appropriate, and that's so that's
yeah,
was it just of like, this is more, when we sat down and told them this is more serious, this is what's happening, kind of surgery that mom is having, you're going into young men, you need to, step up a little bit more in the house and things like that, and take responsibility of all, like, kind of, I'm the operator, right? So taking more responsibility for some of the stuff that mom usually does.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the grief of that they would have, or the worry about your
Right.
well-being, is very well managed by
Yeah.
doing things like,
Yeah.
channeling it into cleaning up the kitchen or whatever the new responsibilities would be.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What I
Work.
wonder is um, if you were to never have had cancer,
Mm.
how, or contrast the two family systems. Like, in other words, it's like, how are you
Mm.
relating to your kids, and what is your relationship with them like? As it's hard, I guess it might be hard to sort of imagine what it would be like if it hadn't happened. But what do you think that cancer, and having fought your way through it both times, and check me if that's a improper characterization of it.
That's correct.
How has that changed your relationship with your sons, and maybe changed a family dynamic?
Mm-hmm. I can answer that by sort of thinking of the things that going through breast cancer has made me realize about myself. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's things that I sort of just did out of habit, or did out of things I thought people expected of me, that maybe I don't necessarily need to do right anymore. And so I think maybe at some point, maybe menopause helps that too. I don't know. But, getting to this place, and I think, being not able to do certain things and not being that present, recognized where, like, I was doing things or being that person that maybe I didn't need to be, right? I didn't need to, I didn't need to try and fix everything, make sure everything was run smoothing with their days. Like, they're perfectly capable of handling disruption in their day, or things that aren't predicted, or like, hey, today you've got dentist appointment, doing this, whatever. Like, they can handle it, right? They don't need something to be really, a smooth running machine. Um, Also, being on one of the major realizations I've had at sort of this point in my life, with kind of the journeys I've had, is you need to feel what other people are feeling. And you need to make sure that you can take that burden on.
Yes.
And really, that's the only way that you can help.
Mm-hmm.
And I've realized, like, so much of that is like, no, I can't, that's too much. Like, that's too much for me. That's not actually how I can help. Like, I can understand, and I can hold that information, hold that feeling. I don't need to take it on. And I realize, like, when my children are upset, or my husband's upset, or my friends are upset, like, I would just often just really take that on. And now I'm like, no, I can empathize, but I don't need to feel it. I don't need to let it, like, take me down into whatever it is. And I think, and maybe that's, my kids are getting older too, all the things, but really just having gone through and having to take care of myself. That's the other thing, is self-care. I always sort of laugh at the hokiness of it all. I'm like, no, self-care is very important. That's like even getting my nails done. Right? Like, yes. I have different colors on my nails.
Yeah.
Hot pink for the spring. But it's sitting there for an hour and a half, and just like the quiet while someone has my hands and I can't do anything, right? Like, so it's not I do like, because of the fun color, but like, it's taking a breath, and that's really what going to do it. And my hip's been bothering me, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to just ignore it, because it might not go away. I'm going to go and get a sports massage, right? And I'm just going to go and take care of myself, as opposed to trying to just like barrel through it. Because I think I tried to barrel through chemo and coming out the other side for many reasons, right? Just the depression, the anxiety, and all the things that happened. I just tried to hold it all myself, tried to hold everybody else's. And I was like, until I broke, I was like, no, I can't do this. So going back to your question of like, I think at some point I would have come to this realization, but what breast cancer has done is really shown me where like I need to take care of myself. I have there's taught my children and I'm continuing to teach them how to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But I have to model it myself, right? Like that, when something is meant for mental health as well. Like I see the therapist. Do it every other week now, but I used to do it every week, and sometimes I do it virtually. And so if I do it virtually or if I go in person, I literally yell out to the house, I'm going to go talk to myself for an hour, talk about myself for an hour to someone who will just listen, right? Modeling, like therapy is great, right? Like therapy is a tool that you should have in your toolbox.
Yes.
It's been
It's what courageous people do.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm paying someone to listen to me and just talk about me for an hour. But I don't know if I would have sought therapy. And I wish I had sought therapy before in my life, right? There's been periods of time where I've just kind of barreled through and just assuming you come out the other side. And you do okay, but there's scars and stuff that you could have maybe built some other tools. So
What a powerful
yeah.
lesson to teach both of them at this point. And I don't want to get too like toxically positive about, having cancer or anything, but yeah, that there are real things that you can put on this was good for us.
You learn from traumas. Yeah. Like I've from our friend Bex, taught like trauma is trauma. Whatever it is that is traumatic to you, there's not like trauma doesn't have to be like a huge car accident where someone dies, right? Like trauma can be how a friend treated you for a long period of time, right? And they actually weren't a friend, or it could be lots of different things. So yeah, you learn from those things, right? And so I learned from cancer. Yeah.
So if you could encapsulate what you want, if you were to say, I'm giving my sons this awareness, this gift that is hard won and forged from my suffering and my realizations and my late nights and all those things, what would that gift be? How would you, and is it, I'll let you go. I'll let you.
Yeah. I was like the importance of mental health.
Yes. Yes.
We focus very much on physical. When are you eating the right things? Are you eating, enough fruits and vegetables? Are you, we're trying, making that, and, exercise, anxiety runs in me and my husband and also our kids, right? And physical exercise really just helps you manage that. So we spend a lot of time just sort of like talking about the physical. But what I want them to really sort of understand is like what mental health means to them, and figure that out, right? They don't have to figure it out now, right? They're their brains are still like forming with all the hormones and stuff going on in their brains, right? But like as they go through life, that taking care of themselves mentally is just as important as physical. And there's a tie between the two, but it's not just making sure that your heart works well or that your muscles can support you when you bend down and stand up. Physical is, it also helps process and helps, process things and just in general, like when your body feels good, you tend to feel good. Just like, when you get dressed up nice and you do your hair or you do different things, like it's good. Right. So
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're such a good example for that too. And I love, with, your care and talking about cold capping and hair and all, like all of that stuff. It's like,
hair, that's a whole conversation in of itself. Right? It is. Like,
oh my gosh. So this is Sue now moving into the future, and you're claiming your this identity of a survivor and a woman going forward, like raising as the sons, are now starting to look at colleges and you're assuming a sort of a new era in your family. How do you want the boys to see you? Like how much of does the um, the cancers play a role in who you are and what you'd like your full, like your mother persona that
Yeah.
you ideally want the boys to see you as.
I hope that they see how I have taken something that was traumatic and that was really hard and have started to find the good stuff out of it, right? Or the giving back, right? And the sharing. So like starting the company is really, and what's been great for my mental health the last, year and a half or so of it is I'm getting used to talking about it. And by talking about other people, you kind of take on that identity, right? Like, I don't know, when I first, had children, I was like, I'm a mom. What is that? But once you start seeing other people and talking to other people about your kids, you start feeling that identity a little bit more, and understanding what it is. So I'm really hoping that they can see that there's things in your life that you can take and find things about it. And what I had it mentioned is that late last summer, my oldest, he's 16, and anyone who would see this is listening with teenagers, they like do all this buy and selling of goods online, and he had this idea of, well, he saw me when I was getting ready for chemo. I bought these like pink Converse shoes to wear to chemo. And I've worn them a couple times since, but that was like my chemo shoes.
Yeah.
And I had some blankets. And so he's actually started a charity around creating some of these things for other people. And yes, he's learning a lot about how to start a nonprofit. I learned it too. He's learning, marketing and how hard marketing is and how hard sales is. You can't just create something and then go, and then people will just let go. They'll just buy it and stuff. So what I'm really hoping is that the things like that will sort of continue in their life. That's about them, right? That life, hopefully. I would love life to be easy for them, right? Like I would love everything to go really well, but it's not. And whatever it is, that there are things you can do to learn from it, grow from it, share, give back. Like, and there's many different ways of doing that, right? It's not just volunteering at a breast cancer center, or giving gifts to, going and giving gifts to breast cancer patients, because they do that in the hospitals. When you're in there, you get bags of things. And but it's, there's different ways of giving, of being part of society, but in your own way. I think to say it that way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful that Owen took this thing that's kind of scary and got a lot of tendrils and sort of weird emotions that he's experiencing about you. He's worried about you. He wants to make sure you're okay. How much pain are you in? All these things, and he can move that squirrely stuff that is hard to answer into an action, which is his charity that he's doing. And I love that. I'm kind of curious about what his younger brother thinks about that too.
He well, and he's like, so when Owen goes to college, do I have to run the charity? And honestly, probably yes. We're getting there, we're getting some traction, which is good in different ways. But yeah, I think he wants to help sometimes, but then we have some, anyway. They are brothers. They are not best friends.
Yes.
So I'll just say that. So there's some competition in there, and there's some like, I want to be different. So my older son, sports, can tell you who was on the like Buffalo Bills 20 years ago team and whatever. The younger son, science, doing Dungeons and Dragons, wears his glasses. He doesn't have to wear glasses, but loves wearing his glasses because he feels like a nerd, right? So so I think for Liam is, as he gets a little older, we'll need to find kind of something like the charity, not necessarily around breast cancer, but something. And he is autistic, so there's something around that. that could do, that he could do. We'll see, but he'll want his own thing is what I was kind of getting to. It's like,
Sure. He can put his own spin on
yeah,
the kicks that you guys are selling or
yeah,
whatever it is.
or
Um,
raising awareness around the spectrum of autism, right? And some things like that. So we'll see. We'll see what he
yeah.
does. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've kind of you've emerged and you're doing this
Merging.
company and the community and that type of thing. What if somebody were just starting to view this and they had kids, um what are a few things that maybe you didn't do right away, or what would you want them to know, and what advice would you give them, just like one or two pieces of advice
Yeah.
that you felt were critical to your guys all coming through it?
Yeah, in terms of one thing, they're much more resilient than you imagine that they will be. Right.
Mm.
The preparation for telling them after the second time when we're going to use the word cancer and breast cancer and kind of talk through it. Like my husband and I, we actually had a Google Doc and we had like notes and like the flow, and we were just really kind of working through it of how to share it and what it means to them. And it was the week or so before we were going to tell them. It was hard. Right. I was so worried that we're going to say the wrong thing, that we were going to do the wrong thing, that if we said it in the wrong, like the things that I could control, right? I could control that kind of stuff. In the end, they were, I mean, maybe it's because I worried so much. I don't think so, but they handled it really well. Right. They were just like, oh, okay, all right. So, and one of the things at the time I had gotten some from a child psychologist, I had gotten some pamphlets of how to talk to your children about it. And one of the things that I read in there that I have shared multiple times with people is when you tell your child that you have cancer and you're fighting cancer, that can lead to them learning about some really, really scary things out there, because really, really scary things do happen, right? And one of the things that they said to share was every cancer and every cancer journey is unique and different. So the only people that know what your mom or your dad or whomever's going through it is your mom or whoever's going through cancer and their care team, their doctors that they're working with. Anything else you hear, ask us about if you're worried. But if you hear something else, or you hear something bad or something good, whatever it is, it most likely will not apply to your parent. And so that was really, I don't know if for them it was as important, but for me that felt much better, because like my worry was that, they would go and, hear about death and death. It's just, that right. And at the time, like wasn't necessarily the likelihood of me dying of that would be like just during surgery or something. It wasn't going to be because of breast cancer, because of of the early stages. And so just letting them know that if, they hear about it, they hear about someone, losing all of their hair or not being able to come to events, or, you have to be very careful about germs and stuff, that it may not apply to me. So come back and, and ask us.
Yeah.
And I think they relied on Pete a lot, my husband, during that for some of those questions of like, how is mom doing and things like that. They didn't necessarily ask me. He told me about it after. Right. But yeah. So I think it's you're going to worry about telling them, they'll be fine. And
they're also at an age, I think, too, where they're looking at Pete saying, how is he handling this? Because they're modeling themselves after him. They're saying, what's my dad doing? This is hard for him too.
Yes. Yeah. How do you show up? How do you make sure and care for other people? And
no pressure, Pete,
Yeah, no pressure. It's fine. I do joke. I'm just like, at some point it'll be your turn. I'm not looking forward to this, but they're both out of it. Luckily, he's not had anything major, right? He's been sick, but nothing. Nothing like this.
I think it's extraordinary and noteworthy. I want to pull that out and point to it, is the preparation and the seriousness with which you both felt the communications had to be precise, and they had to, be very, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you reap the benefits of that preparation, and, the humility that you can't just be like, yeah, we have
Yeah. Like,
cancer.
hey, don't
Whatever.
worry. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like their brains are not right. And the other thing we sort of reminded ourselves, sorry, my dog is like behind me, like,
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, she's in here. She'll bark if I don't let her in. Is that their world still revolves around them, right? Like they're 10 and 7, they're 14 and 11 or whatever. And
Mhm.
they're, that's how their brains work. And so it's this, they worry about other people, but they worry about how it affects them. And so that's when we talked about it, when we talked through it, we're just like, this is how it will affect you, right? This is how, from the practical day to day, from your emotional, you might get really sad, you might get scared. Those are okay feelings to have, right? Like,
Yes.
but if it gets to be too much, that's when you ask, or that's when you go hug your pillow or your thousands of stuffed animals that they have, right? So like that was
I
part
love
of
that.
yeah. So that was part of the communication, was like, because knowing that, I think adults, we do it too, but not as much maybe as kids, is how much the world is themselves, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, and those feelings are okay. Yeah.
So what do you have to remind yourself to do with them and for yourself each day? Like what is one of the harder things that you have to be like, Sue, remember? Is there anything like it's a little bit harder for you to kind of, sort of remember or try to do for them or for yourself,
Yeah.
as an example?
I think I don't slow down enough.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's
just want to get out. I want to get the to-do list done, and then I can relax. But the to-do list never gets done.
yeah.
And so I find myself, we go through the day of, okay, now kids go to school, I work, and then they come home, we have dinner, make sure that their homework, and maybe we watch a TV show together and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Like we get into that, like get things done. We need to get this application in for some basketball camp or something like that. That's like, and we still need to do those things, right? But like really to take a moment and whatever it is, like I mean, driving in the car, and you and I've talked about that before, that is a beautiful time to talk to your children about different things,
Especially
right?
boys, because they don't have to look at you.
At you, right? And sometimes my 13-year-old still, he wants to sit in the back seat if I pick him up, because he's, he just needs to like decompress from all of the noise and stuff around him. So he sits in the back. So not only is he like, we're not looking at me, like I can't even see him peripherally out of my head. And but taking those moments and doing something with them, or my husband and I, we try to go on 2 or 3 dates a month. It's easier now that they're older and can be home alone. But I try to go out with the boys once every quarter, every couple of months or so. They will go out and hang out together. So so I tend to just try to get through the day and try to find those moments of it, to enjoy it, right? To enjoy whatever it is, or to be sad, and it's okay to be sad, right? But to let myself have those feelings and spend time. Yeah.
I think I have one more question, and that is there anything that you would want them to know, say when they're 30 or 35, that's a little more complex, a little more intimate, a little more hard to tell a young person about this process, that perhaps is in a journal, or is something that someday you'll have a talk with them about?
Yeah. How scared I was and am.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's, it, during it, I was doing everything I could. I wasn't necessarily worried about, something terrible, maybe happening, but I was, right? It wasn't like present there. And, and this is still what I work on and therapy and different things of, I just want everything to be okay. Like I think a lot of people are like that. I'm very much like that. Like everything just needs to be fine, and I will make it be okay. But I have not shared with them, or even like my husband in many ways, of how scared. And I think for him, I know he was scared and is in some ways. Because, it came back twice. Doesn't mean, who knows the third time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to check myself while I do this.
Flexibly.
Yeah. So, when they're 30 and, maybe have kids or pets of their own, that sort of, sharing with them like how scary those things are and were, and you maybe also for me when in my 30s is when or late 20s is when you kind of start seeing your parents as people. Right?
Yes.
You're like, oh, they aren't just here to take care of me and all the things. Like they have all these like feelings too, and relationship issues and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, I hope someday they ask you about it. That would be like an enormous, it'd be a wonderful, probably lunch or, moments of talking.
Out, right? Yeah. Or maybe it happens when they're going through something similar-ish in their life, right? Like, and then you really can share of like, yeah, I was fine to you all, but this is actually what was going on inside, right? And I announce that I go to therapy, but like I'm still processing so many things, right? Not just cancer, but about lots of things in my life. That it's that I'm a person too.
Yeah, and you don't know everything. You're also in the stream of learning. You're
exactly.
out too.
And I've heard my 50s are going to be the best decade, so I'm super excited.
For me.
Yeah.
I'm the one who told you that. And I stand by that.
My mom is at the same thing.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
It's a great decade. Yeah. But I think that we can, is there anything else that you feel like you want to say or that we haven't touched on that you feel like is important to sort of put into this discussion today?
As we're sort of thinking about it before, I think it's I loved how you framed it. It's like the evolving identities in your life, that whether it's chosen, whether it's your career or you chose to get married or you choose to have children, and I didn't choose to be a breast cancer survivor, but like this, or when you're sort of reaching middle life and things like that, like that, these are all good things because that's who you are now. Right?
Yes.
I'm different than I was X number of years ago. But that's actually a good thing, right? I've changed and I've evolved, and it's not. And I think about like of myself as a parent, right? Who obviously they need babies and toddlers need parents a little differently, but not really, right? Like you're still this person along the way. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about is like as identity around all of this, and how you can try to change and try to do different things. But if you kind of embrace the different things that you choose in life or that life has chosen for you, and kind of embrace them and work through them, it feels pretty good, and it feels pretty shitty sometimes too. Right? Like, yeah.
And I think it's important to tell the kids that it's feeling, whatever word you want to use for shitty, at the time. That's just shitty. Yeah, right.
It feels bad, right? Like, or just, that your feelings are okay. Anyway, so that's what I was, as I was thinking about this was just that, that what it means, and while you're going through it, while you're on the other side of it, while you're afraid of it coming back, that those are all things that are part of that identity, right? And yes. Who you show up with as like, I'm a mom who had breast cancer. So, and I often think a lot, and this is a little different, but is like, if I had a daughter, would I feel, how different would this feel? It's not, as far as we know, it's not genetic, right? But the genetic testing can change, right? Sure. But, so, in some ways I'm not scared for my boys, but, then get breast cancer too. So, but I that's a little different than we were talking about, but like, that's still in there of like this, You know, how different would it be if I had girls? And I don't know. And
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I
Mm.
mean, but no matter what, you know, hardships, you know, inevitably our kids, as much as we hate to think about it, are going to have hardships on
Yep.
their road of life.
Yep.
And what we can only do as parents is provide them with an example of how to walk through it.
Yes.
And, you know, to be articulate, to be compassionate, to be connected, to be prepared the
Yeah.
way you have. And I think that at the end of the day, your sons are go forward from this era with you,
So
better prepared, and they, you know, ugh, the word grit came up, and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to
yeah,
use that.
it's great.
But it's
It's
true.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's true. Um, it is. They are better prepared to handle their lives
Yeah.
because you have thoughtfully brought them through this, and
So,
yeah,
yeah.
and you're going to keep on. So
And
I
we'll
think
see.
that's a
Yes.
wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you. I wish we were in
thank
person.
you.
Give you a hug. Yeah,
I
like
know.
hug.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Awesome.
Take care.
You too. You gonna hang up? Okay. Oh my God, look. The lighting.